when you enter into any society, the level of progress you see in that society is proportional to how that society have agreed with God's definitions of truth, justice, goodness, beauty, and abundance. Okay. Then when you go into that same society, the kind of problems they have in the society, it is also a reflection of how they have deviated from God's definition of these 5 eternal principles. So the biblical definitions of what truth, justice, beauty, abundance, and goodness are, and how we spread them, how we cultivate them, how we propagate them, externalize and concretize them, is what our life mission is about. How is it that there have been a sexual revolution in the 20th century into the 21st century? How did society move from a more conservative, traditional view of marriage, sex, and children into a 21st century sexual revolution where sex is divorced from marriage and it's also divorced from children, or marriage is being divorced from children? What happened? What changed? So according to the biblical view, this is how family is supposed to be. So the traditional view, or God's view of marriage, is that marriage is the universal set. If you want to have sex, marry. Sex is not outside marriage. Then sex within marriage should produce children. This was the normal standard for a very long time in our world. Then we entered a certain generation, and in our days, this is how the circle looks like. What does it mean? So when you watch movies and the lady is like, oh, my husband is a good man, he's an ethical man, but when it comes to sex, he's not able to blow my mind, so now I want to break my marriage.
Sex commando.
And this idea is in a lot of our movies. Where did it come from? Culture as a tree. Who cultivated those ideas? That's what I want to talk about. We have already settled that every culture has 3 levels. Number 1, we have the cult level, the moral and intellectual fiber of the society. Then we have the institutional level. Now, at the cult level is where we have the root system. At the moral fiber is how we have the trunk of the tree. At this level is how we have the what? The branches. There are those that will be called to execute their life calling at the cult level or the root level of the society. Others will execute their life assignment at the trunk level of society. Okay? And others will live out their life calling at the branches in society. The people called into the cult level of the society or the culture, they are called to propound those set of religious ideas that will form the worldview. Any new idea that comes to shape a society is either a priest propagated it or a philosopher propagated it. By the time it comes to the trunk, which people do we see at the trunk level? We see educators or academicians. Simply put, professors. The purpose of education in any society is to standardize those set of fundamental religious ideas that have been generated by the priests and the philosophers. So in every society, the educational system takes on the nature of the religious ideas of that society. As soon as it comes to the social institution, of the 5, the first group of people to catch the idea first are the artists' entertainment. When it comes here, we turn it into books, we turn it into novels, we turn it into poems, we turn it into movies, we turn it into fashion styles, we turn it into anything that people can easily relate with. At this point, it now becomes a trend, a fashion. By the time the artists are promoting the ideas, what will happen is that the professionals, doctors, engineers, lawyers, politicians, do you know what they can do? They will do? The only thing that they will do is now produce policies, programs, and NGOs that will embody these ideas. Once you have understood this, I'm now ready to tell you who the philosophers and the priests of the sexual revolutions are, who the educators of the sexual revolutions are,
my God,
who the entertainers and the artists of the sexual revolutions are. Then you know why our doctors think the way they think, our lawyers think the way they think, our businessmen think the way they think. The reason why now young people now are becoming sexual addicts and they are being prone to sex, and that we have a generation that want to have sex and don't want to marry, and those who marry don't want to give birth to children. You now understand where that ideas and that lifestyle is coming from.